You cannot save someone who refuses to heal. Welcome to the Soft Girl Era podcast, where we unlearn survival and reclaim the softness, rest, and joy we deserve. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. I recently had the privilege of interviewing Ida Riley, a powerhouse who's been transforming lives by challenging one of the most dangerous myths we carry as Black women, the belief that we can save a broken person. Ida's work is revolutionary because she's helping us understand that trying to heal someone who refuses healing isn't noble. It's a trap that drains our energy and keeps us stuck in cycles of exhaustion. Her impact is making the world a better place because she's giving us permission to prioritize ourselves without guilt, without apology, and without explanation. Today, I'm sharing the profound insights from my conversation with Ida Riley. And trust me, this is the permission slip you've been waiting for. Let's start here. How many of us have poured ourselves into relationships, friendships, family dynamics, believing that if we just loved harder, prayed longer, showed up more consistently, we could fix someone who's broken? We've been taught that our strength means carrying others, that our love means sacrificing ourselves, that our faith means never giving up on anyone. But here's the disruptive truth Ida Riley shared with me. You will exhaust yourself trying to save a broken person, and that person will continue to be broken. We have to accept that some people don't want to heal. That's not cruelty, that's clarity. This hits differently when you're a high achieving Black woman who spent decades in survival mode. You've led teams, you've raised families, you've held down households and carried communities on your back. And now you're tired. You're ready to shift from constantly grinding to finally grounding in joy, peace, softness, and self prioritization. But you can't get there if you're still trying to save people who refuse to save themselves. During my interview with Ida Riley, she painted a picture that so many of us know too well. We cling to this savior complex because we've been conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to how much we can endure, how much we can give, how much we can fix. The church told us to turn the other cheek. Our families told us to be strong. Society told us we're superhuman. So we kept the cape on, even when it was choking us, even when we were battling our own storms, our own health crises, our own heartbreak. We still showed up for everyone else. But Ida Riley's message is clear. That's not strength, that's self destruction. Let me share three key lessons from my conversation with Ida Riley that every Black woman needs to hear right now. Protect your energy first. Exhaustion from trying to save others leads to your own breakdown. You have to set boundaries early to heal yourself. Research shows that increased mental health service use correlates with more diagnoses. But here's the catch: stigma and overdiagnosis often label normal responses as disorders, blurring the lines and exhausting helpers who ignore someone's unwillingness to change. When you're pouring into someone who refuses to do the work, you're not helping them, you're harming yourself. And sis, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot heal others while you're bleeding out. Recognize unwillingness as a choice. Not everyone wants healing. Stigma and cultural myths make people resist, just as some view therapy as weakness despite its proven benefits. Ida Riley reminded me that older generations often see therapy as a sign of weakness, a betrayal of faith, or an admission of failure. But here's the reality: 55.8 million adults now seek mental health support because they've chosen healing. The ones who refuse, that's their choice. And you have to respect that choice by releasing them with grace and protecting your peace. Focus on self healing for true empowerment. Redirect your energy inward. Comprehensive approaches like therapy plus lifestyle changes yield real recovery, not endless fixing of others. When you stop trying to save the unhealable, you create space for your own transformation. You reclaim your time, your energy, your joy. You step into your soft girl era where rest isn't a reward, it's a right. Now, let me back this up with real world proof because Ida Riley didn't just share theory. She shared stories of Black women who've lived this truth and transformed their lives. Think about Dr. Joy DeGruy, the Black scholar and author of Post Traumatic Slave Syndrome. She dedicated her life to empowering Black professionals and healing intergenerational trauma. She understood the weight of ancestral pain, the scars left by systemic oppression, the invisible wounds passed down through generations. She wanted to help. She wanted to heal. She wanted to save. But she hit a wall when she tried to save community members who refused therapy due to stigma, all while battling her own health challenges. Can you imagine that? Fighting for your own survival while simultaneously trying to carry people who won't even pick up their own burdens? She exhausted herself trying to force healing on people who weren't ready. She gave and gave and gave until there was nothing left. But something shifted. She made a decision that changed everything. She set firm boundaries and focused on self care and evidence based education over forced healing. She stopped chasing people who were running from their own wholeness. She stopped begging people to choose themselves. And when she did that, everything transformed. She regained her energy. She authored influential work that reached millions. She ignited self healing movements in Black spaces across this country and beyond. The participants who chose healing, they thrived, they flourished, they became living testimonies of what's possible when you do the work. The ones who refused, she released them with love and moved forward. Her impact has been monumental, sparking widespread therapy adoption in Black communities and reducing stigma long term. But it only happened when she stopped trying to save the unsavable and started protecting her own peace. Then there's Tarana Burke, founder of the Me Too movement. She's a Black activist who supported countless trauma survivors, a woman who's held space for pain that would break most people. She experienced burnout from aiding people who rejected ongoing healing. This diverted her energy from her own health advocacy. She was so busy trying to save everyone else that she was losing herself in the process. Can we talk about how familiar that feels? How many of us have sacrificed our own healing, our own rest, our own joy because we were too busy being everyone else's savior? But when she prioritized self boundaries and empowered willing participants through peer networks instead of trying to save everyone, she experienced personal renewal and the movement exploded with focused energy. Me Too has empowered over 19 million survivors in an epic cultural wave. 19 million. That's the power of focused energy. That's the power of boundaries. That's what happens when you stop exhausting yourself on people who refuse to heal and you redirect that energy toward people who are ready, willing, and hungry for transformation. Tarana's story exemplifies the power of not forcing healing on the unwilling and preserving your strength, especially during personal trials. Oh, and we cannot forget Iyanla Vanzant, the Black life coach and television host who's been a beacon in spiritual self-help circles targeting Black women entrepreneurs. She was drained by trying to fix family members and clients who rejected change all during her own relational and health crisis. She came from an abusive upbringing. She survived divorce. She knew pain intimately. And because of that pain, she was driven to heal others. But she confronted their resistance. She faced the heartbreaking reality that not everyone wants to be healed. Not everyone is ready. Not everyone will choose wholeness, even when you're offering it on a silver platter. But when she embraced the acceptance principle and walked away from unhealable ties to focus on willing audiences, she found bestseller success and renewed purpose. She conquered the airwaves with Fix My Life, dramatically liberating thousands through tough love truths. Her impact has normalized boundaries in Black self help. influencing therapy uptake and leadership resilience across our communities. She taught us that walking away isn't abandonment, it's self preservation, it's wisdom, it's necessary. These women, these powerhouses, learned what Ida Riley has been teaching. You cannot save someone who refuses to heal, and trying to do so will cost you everything. Let's talk about what happens when more Black leaders embrace this truth and ditch the savior myth. Imagine empowered communities with less burnout and more breakthroughs. Data shows that reduced stigma boosts genuine help seeking, but acceptance of non healers prevents overdiagnosis pitfalls and fosters resilient Black excellence. When we stop exhausting ourselves on people who refuse healing, we create space for those who are ready. We model healthy boundaries for the next generation. We redefine what strength really means. This is what the soft girl era is all about. It's the sacred pause Black women have been waiting for. It's not a trend, it's a lifestyle rebellion, a deep exhale from the superwoman script, a quiet but powerful return to softness, rest, self trust, and radical joy. And part of that journey is learning to release the cape, to say no without guilt, to set boundaries without apology, to rest without explanation. During my interview with Ida Riley, she challenged me with a question that I'm now passing on to you. How are you learning to be soft in a world that taught you survival? Because here's the truth, sis. Softness is not weakness, it's a radical act of self love and protecting your energy from people who refuse to heal. That's not selfish, that's sacred. Let me be clear about what this means in practice. It means you stop answering every call from that family member who drains you but never changes. It means you stop overextending yourself for that friend who takes but never gives. It means you stop staying in relationships, romantic or otherwise, with people who are committed to their brokenness. And yes, it means you accept that some people don't want to heal, and that's not your responsibility to fix. 20.3% of United States adults received mental health treatment in 2020. That number reflects awareness, not just need, but it also risks overdiagnosis and helper fatigue when we ignore someone's unwillingness to change. Myths like medication changes personality or therapy stigma prevent genuine healing because people reject multifaceted treatment. And when you're the one trying to force that healing, you become collateral damage. So here's where we are right now. You're standing at a crossroads. On one side is the familiar path of exhaustion, of carrying people who won't carry themselves, of sacrificing your peace for people who won't choose wholeness. On the other side is liberation, freedom, softness, joy, rest, boundaries, healing, your soft girl era. Which path are you going to choose? Because here's what I know: you cannot save someone who refuses to heal, but you can save yourself. You can choose yourself. You can protect your energy. You can set boundaries. You can release people with grace. You can step into your soft girl era where you're no longer defined by how much you can endure, but by how deeply you can rest, how freely you can laugh, how boldly you can say no. Ida Riley is doing revolutionary work by helping Black women understand that we cannot save people who refuse to heal. And her impact is making the world a better place because she's giving us permission to prioritize ourselves without guilt, without apology, and without explanation. So here's my challenge to you. Today, right now, identify one relationship that's draining your energy. Ask yourself, is this person choosing healing? Are they doing the work? Are they willing to change? If the answer is no, it's time to release them with grace, not with anger, not with bitterness, but with the understanding that their healing is not your responsibility. Your healing is. This is not about being cold. This is not about being heartless. This is about being honest. This is about being wise. This is about being free. Because the truth is, you've been carrying people for so long that you've forgotten what it feels like to walk light. You've been so busy saving everyone else that you've forgotten you're worthy of being saved too. You've been so committed to their healing that you've neglected your own. But not anymore. Not today. Not after this moment. You deserve to be soft. You deserve to rest. You deserve to heal. And you absolutely deserve to release anyone who refuses to do the same. Welcome to your soft girl era, where you unlearn survival, rediscover softness, and reclaim the joy, rest, and freedom you deserve. This is your permission slip. This is your invitation. This is your moment. Now go, audit that relationship, ask the hard questions, make the tough decisions, protect your peace, guard your energy, choose yourself, and step boldly into the life you've been too exhausted to even dream about. Because, sis, you cannot save someone who refuses to heal, but you can absolutely save yourself. And that is where your true power lives.